Autumn Stringam, welcome to Book, Television and HarperCollins in Conversation with Authors.
Thank you.
It's great to meet you.
It's good to be here.
So you have written an amazing book, a touching book, a very sad book. You're at times sad, at times very powerful. But your book is not fiction. Your book is non-fiction and to some degree autobiographical.
Absolutely.
Tell me a little bit about what your understanding is of bipolar disorder, both personally and on a medical or medicinal level.
You know, my understanding of bipolar has changed dramatically over the years, because when I was diagnosed with bipolar, I was told it's a chemical disorder in the brain and it wouldn't ever be something that's curable, and that I would be on medication for the rest of my life, mainly because I was doing the rapid cycling, so they just didn't have any hope of having me get off of the medication. But after my dad discovered the nutritional treatment that I use now, and I have used for the last 11 years, I'm realizing we're essentially redefining what mental illness is, as thousands of people are using it, and the research is being done. It's changing the way that the psychiatrists who are involved are actually seeing the illness. And so the way I understand it now is that there is a genetic component to mental illness, and but I think it has less to do with the brain and more to do with a person's ability to absorb nutrition normally. And so I feel like I was starving somehow, starving my brain of something that I absolutely needed to function normally. And when I got it, things leveled out. It's really been amazing.
Why is there still so much stigma about mental illness?
I think that there's stigma about anything that people don't understand. And, you know, like, there isn't a stigma like that about diabetes, because we can say it's chemical, it's not their fault, doesn't generally destroy your marriage or make you volatile or mean. And for mental illness, I think it affects people and relationships and families and creates so much damage that I think that's what keeps the stigma going. It's not anybody's fault that they're sick, but the things that people do when they're sick can be so awful, you know, that it just changes it. It affects people in a different way.
So you have written a book now, a book that is about to be on bookshelves all across at least this country, if not a whole heap of countries. People are about to read all about your life. How do you feel about that?
I'm okay with it now. A few years ago, I was terrified by the notion. It's something to give up that much privacy. But, you know, when I self-published the first version of it, the response that I got from readers was just so sincere. Emails and handwritten letters and people just being so thankful for the candor and feeling, you know, saying things like I'd given words to their illness and described it to their loved ones in ways that they couldn't have done themselves. So I feel like it was kind of a worthy project.
Do you feel then that there's a hole in the community, whether it be in the support community or in the publishing community, where there isn't enough of this sort of book, of this sort of story?
I don't think there are enough feel-good stories. I mean, mine ends well. And I think most people writing a book about bipolar could only write halfway through the book and get to the point where it's really dark and really scary and really bad. And I don't know that anybody wants to read that.
Who would you like to read your book?
I would like anybody who has suffered from bipolar or depression to read my book. I'd like anybody who's ever had a mother to read my book. I think that there's a message beyond mental illness in understanding our parents and in coming to a point of forgiveness and the freedom that comes when you realize that even the bad things that happened were for your good at some point, I think. I wouldn't give it back, you know. I wouldn't change anything that ever happened. I think all of it's turned out beautifully.
Just the way it should have.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. It's great to meet you.
It's really good to meet you.